Hello, everybody. Margo Lovett here. Well, it is Women's History Month, and I'm here representing WomELLE magazine, gladly, and they are saluting 25 powerful women, and I have one of those powerful women right here with me, Auguste Crenshaw. Auguste, girl, I am so glad to see you.
I am equally ecstatic about seeing you, Queen. Hi.
Hello, hello. Let everybody know that you are a business coach. You are an advanced mental conditioning specialist. We're going to touch off on that.
Okay.
And Mrs. Raw, Real, Relentless, a podcaster from the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. I love every part of that. Your work is so essential, August, and you do a lot. You bring a lot to the table, and not just every once in a while, but each and every day. So people are talking about, I'm a business coach. I'm a business coach. And we check out their credentials. The footprint doesn't go very deep, but you take a person from strategy all the way to sales, because if we're not selling anything, we really don't have a business.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you take us back to this advanced mental conditioning specialist? Because I think that's probably where you start. Am I correct?
Absolutely. So number one, thank you again for being here. But actually that name came from a client. It's also my initial. So I was like, hey, that's kind of cute, AMC. But mindset is everything. And a lot of people say, yeah, I'm a business coach. And maybe they have a successful business, but having a skill and translating that skill to other people, those are two completely different things. You may be able to do calculus, but you can't teach calculus. And so when it comes to business, you realize that there are foundational principles that everyone has to apply, but what blocks them from being applied has to do with the mind of the individual that owns the business. So for me, getting into those nooks and crannies of the mindset of the women that I'm working with matters more than anything else. Because if I can get inside of your stinking thinking, I can figure out what's going on inside of your head and get you to unleash your true potential. We can get past those blocks. And my strategy will pale in comparison to the supernatural creativity that will come to you just by finally recognizing who you are. And so because I dig so deep, not just your money mindset needs to be better. You need to say better affirmations. Oh, no, Queen. What are those deep inner subconscious thoughts that are keeping you shackled to the ground and not moving forward with your dream? Women that work with me, I bust through that every single time.
Wow, that's powerful. That is some powerful stuff, because, and that's not the sexy part of the work, but that's a necessary, and it's a part of the foundational work that must take place. I don't know of anybody else who's taken that approach. Everybody's giving you theories and the traditional way of learning how to sell, do your copy, strategy, a little bit of mindset. But you pop the trunk, the hood, and you really dig down deep.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, what happens to me, I tell most clients, I'm going to be the coach that for 2 seconds you may hate me, but I promise you'll go back to loving me again. The thing that allowed you to love me and sign on the dotted line and say, we can work together, it'll be restored, because I get to the ugly parts. I even had an uncomfortable conversation recently with a client because she put in a copy, I'm commenting in a group, oh Lord, if I knew that this is what this was going to be like working with you, I would have never signed up, because I went at her hard. I'm looking at her life. I'm looking at her income goals. I'm looking at her business structure, what she's capable of doing. And week after week, no execution. In the beginning, I can give you a little space because you're getting your bearings together. You're getting your messaging together. You're overcoming some obstacles. And when I came at her and obliterated every single excuse that she had, that's what she said. And so the challenging question for me, because this is a relationship, this is not just business. I understand some people want to put it in that category, but for me, when you are dealing with someone's dream, no matter how business it is, it does become personal. And so for me, I was like, hey, time out. What does that comment mean? Because I've had a woman back before I got my messaging together that said, oh, I don't really like your techniques, but I like the benefits of working with you. And so I had to ask her about that. And she's like, oh, no, 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 no. That's not what I meant. She's like, I'm glad I paid you first, because if I knew that I was going to have to face all of these fears, I wouldn't have signed up to work with you. So for her, it was something that was completely different. But like I said, I promise you, if you can get through whatever is blocking a woman to, preventing her from showing up in her authenticity, then there are certain opportunities that will come to her, and there are certain epiphanies that will come to her that no business strategist could ever give to anyone. That's what entrepreneurship is about, allowing people to find their own personal power. You come to people like me because you don't understand lead generation, and you don't know how to do a proper copywriting, and your sales conversation, you're killing the leads when you get them. You come to me for skill sets, but your gift is natural. So that yeah, that's very important. And yeah, I'm the client, I'm the coach that my clients love to hate just for a second, and then after that we're in tears and we're crying because they're free.
I love what you said about the gift and the skill set, and how you magically put both of them together. You dig down through that hard ground, because most of us, we don't want to be, who wants to be put on blast? I mean, you get to be 40, 50, 60 years old, and I'll just say it, you come out of corporate, you say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. You've been making money for somebody else, and you don't know how to sell the white off of a toothpick. You have to humble yourself and say, I don't know where to start. And then you want to hide, because that thing of, they can't really see that I don't know what I'm not doing. But you have a way of confronting that, and it's not popular, but it gets results. August, people may say, well, what makes her think she's qualified to go ahead and go up hard at me like that? And yeah, so what say you to that?
Oh, because that's what I do. No, seriously, at some point you have to embody whatever it is that you teach. And so there are a lot of people, they say they're zenned out, but they are some of the first people, to put their zen on the shelf, and just decide to cuss everybody out. There's no more love and light. Well, for me, the epitome of my life from day one has always been conquering, overcoming. And I realized that the only way that I could get there was to be raw and to be real with myself first. The relentless spirit, the rawness and the realness, that started with me. When I looked at my life and I didn't like it, because what kind of mama would give her child up at 18 months? Why don't you want to raise me, but you raise those other 4 children? All of the jealous aunties that I dealt with, overcoming being a teenage parent, trying with everything and every fiber in your being to live the status quo of whatever it means to be responsible, and all of those things. That took a lot of patience with myself. Because you know what? I was bitter. I was angry. I did have an attitude. My gift to speak, encourage, and edify, it was always there. But it was me living in a bipolar mindset. One minute I'm telling people they can do anything. The next minute I'm cussing you out because I think I'm paranoid about why you're talking to me. So I had to do the deep inner thinking. I had to sit there and say, well, why do you respond like that? Okay, this is before all of this stuff came out with, self-care and healing. No offense, I was raised in the church. You just pray and you turn a lot of stuff over to God. For me, when I was reading the Bible, and for those that are listening, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. I was reading that word, and the one scripture that always stuck out to me was in James, when he says that if a man hears the word and doesn't do the word, he's like someone that looked in the mirror and then forgot the image that they were beholding. So I had a season in my life where all of these things that were in the Bible that were talking about what really is the fruit of the spirit, what really is love, what really is patience and kindness and all of that stuff. And I realized that that's not who I was. That was ugly. Mm-hmm. And fighting with me not being in the image of God for real, that bothered me. And so I did the work with me first. Now, overcoming all of the other, physical obstacles, that was something else that I had to do too. And so not only did I do it for myself, but then I also began to do it for others. And I did it for others for free. And women that are listening to this, if you are new in business, sometimes you need to realize you're discrediting yourself. You're not giving yourself enough credit, rather, because you were already mentoring and doing things. There just wasn't a title. You were doing it in a ministry. You were doing it in an organization that you were volunteering for. You were doing it with your family members. You were the primary person that the girlfriends came to for answers. It's your gift. And so once I healed and I was able to get rid of the friction, I was able to pass the gift on to other people. It just so happened that God said, now it's your time. And I want you to make a business out of it. So no one, I know it's not about degrees. Oh, I have a PhD in life circumstances. Yes. That right there is the qualifier. And that's why I tell people in a heartbeat, oh no, you can never question my authority nor my ability.
I love that. So many, that right there backs down so many people. I just had a conversation with someone who circled around for 2 years, knew she was supposed to start counseling, being a consultant, a counselor, but she circled for 2 years. She said, I'm not from that industry. I don't know anything. I don't have the credentials. And then finally she recognized I do, and I have what it takes. So I love that. Myself, if you don't have the life experiences, if you haven't had the bumps, the lumps, and the thumps, you really can't teach. You really can't coach a person. You are super limited. And I want people to hear that when they are choosing a business coach. You have to have somebody who's been in there. You know what it's like to pop the trunk and the hood on a car and know what it's going to take so that this is going to run effectively, efficiently, and for long term. That's what I'm glad that you said that, August, because so many people, they have 3 PhDs and all of that, that I'm not knocking anybody with that, but what do you bring to the table from life? That is very, very important.
Can I add something before you go to the next
question? Yes, indeed.
Quick too? Because the thing about it is somebody else might say, no, because at the end of the day, there is theory wrapped all around it. And I know people that haven't necessarily had a horrible life, blah, 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 and they can still coach people and help them through. But let me explain something to you. The Spirit of God, unfortunately, reigns through pain. The Spirit of God reigns through pain. And so while somebody else may have the same ability as me, even though I'm raw and I'm real and I don't take anything from my clients, the Spirit is what allows me to have that intuitive nudge sometimes to say, whoa, 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 whoa. See, if I'm talking to this sister, I'm going to look in her face and say, stop playing. But if I'm talking to this sister, I'm going to be like, now, you got to stop playing, because you're undercutting yourself. And so that level of intuition, a lot of times that comes from the pain, because sometimes we could be very arrogant. I remember when I was young, I don't know why these women keep on being in these relationships, why men hitting on them and stuff, until I was a woman in my latter 20s and married to a man who decided that he thought that verbal, mental, emotional, and physical abuse, then I had to say, oh, is this why grandmama said never say never? And so a level of sensitivity came to me, because now I understood how you could get there. Mrs. Strong, fine, and sexy, could pull any man, all of a sudden was in a dysfunctional relationship. So yeah, somebody that's listening, you may have the knowledge, but do you have the intuition? Do you have the compassion to be able to regulate and know how you're supposed to respond when everybody doesn't take on whatever it is that you're teaching them at the same capacity?
That's truth. Now that's real talk. Intuition is the secret sauce. That's the secret sauce. Wow, I love that. You speak of the ups and the downs, everything that's gone on in your life, and you are an open book, that's for certain. But you also are a firm believer in investing in yourself. Will you speak to that? Because there are some people that feel that if they're going to become an entrepreneur, they can Google everything or they can go to YouTube. But will you speak to that thing that the person that invests in themselves, that's a different category.
Absolutely. Because here's the thing, you do invest in yourself all the time. Now, whether or not you invested properly or poorly is a different thing. There's a reason why you bought that particular Brazilian hair, those types of underwear, those shoes, those clothes. There's a reason why you purchased that car. Whatever it is that you've paid for, it was an investment in yourself because it makes you feel some kind of way. So when you decide that you want to walk out this journey and this mission of entrepreneurship, you have to realize that it's not an expense. That's the biggest thing. Most people aren't even considering it as an investment. They're looking at it like, oh my God, I got to spend this money. If I spend this money to work with her or do this, what's my ROI going to be? Your ROI might be a mindset shift. The next ROI might be the one that's financial. And the bottom line is entrepreneurship will humble you. You could be a high-powered executive for a Fortune 500 company and start your own business and then realize you're not that cocky, because now you can't hide behind the title of the business. Now you cannot hide behind the title of the position. You have to stand up and say that this thing that I created is the best thing on the planet, and you need to buy this from me. Oh, see, there's nothing to hide behind. Now we see what those insecurities are. And so guess what? You're really not insecure about your ability to execute, but you don't understand all these moving parts of business. You went into something that someone was in your position many, many moons ago. And expanded and added more people and got a building and became, national and international and has, suppliers across the world. That's not you. And so cultivating your gift, understanding what's the best thing for you, you've got to get leadership and direction. And everybody knows that the mastermind is the most powerful thing. I don't care if you're practical or if you're spiritual. You listen to Napoleon Hill and you read from the greats, they will tell you that's the more than multiple minds. That's the street way to say it. Two heads are better than one. You read the Bible, where two or three are gathered together, then that's where the spirit is in the midst. So if you want to get there faster, you can't rush it, but you can definitely slow it down. If you want to get there faster, you get mentorship, you get leadership, and you invest, because you see and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this purpose that is inside of you, that's what you're supposed to do. You're not just a hairstylist, you're edifying women. You're not just teaching children, you're educating future leaders. You're not just selling soaps and perfumes, you're helping people that happen to be conscious about vegan products and not harming the earth also take care of their body. Almost every individual, there's a deeply rooted meaning behind why you do what you do. If not, those are usually the entrepreneurs that can't stand very long. And so you got to get somebody to help you get beyond your passion. You can't, your passion is natural, but Google will kill it. I've seen many people not stick around. They say most businesses don't last. They're gone within the first 5 years, but they stop 3 feet from goal because they don't believe anymore. But you don't believe because you didn't get direction. You pay for the degree. Why can't you pay for the direction?
Yes. You pay for the degree, pay for the direction. August, I tell you, every time, see, this is the kind of information that you impart to people when you are on Facebook. You just pop up and you speak your mind, but it's always laced in something that is going to be an aha moment for someone. And this is what comes out of working with you, connecting with you on Facebook. I understand that you have multiple summits throughout the year. So it's not like you throw information out there for people, say, work with me, and then they don't hear from you at all. You open up the world to multiple summits. Will you tell us about this MOVE Summit that's coming up? I think it's very important because when we look back upon what happened in 2020, some people still are left behind as far as entrepreneurship goes. So will you address that, please?
Yes, absolutely. Before I left St. Louis in 2014, I remember a few years prior to that, everybody was like, you better get online, get a website. If your business doesn't have a website, it won't exist, 5-10 years from now. That's what they said. Well, now it's not enough just to have a website. You must have a virtual presence. And I understand some of you may be, brick and mortar, you may not have an online product, but I'm going to tell you something. See, I got long a site. I don't have just a right now site. And for instance, like I work with a dog groomer, like I told her, yeah, since you are a dog groomer, your services are local and but I said, but you can still utilize social media to build up your credibility, to bring in your fans, to bring in more revenue. But what happens when something's going on and people need to buy tutorials or do something with you in order to understand how to manage their pet grooming during seasons like COVID? What happens when you actually tap into this mastery from being a groomer for over 20 years and you need to actually start teaching? See, we have to be in a position of constant availability for evolution. Evolution is the natural state of God consciousness, and being online, that's what gives you that. So the Move Summit is all about people understanding, if you didn't get it after COVID, maybe because you thought it was going to disappear after 2020 and it's still here, that you have to have a virtual presence. So Move stands for Master a Virtual Economy. And it's not, for me, I've never been able to just do a summit that's just like business related. Everything that impacts you. Yes, my target market happens to be, I love all women, but it's not for men and women, and any race can apply. I've always had mixed people come in. I do specifically market to Black women. I feel like there's a deficit even more so in the Black community with not taking advantage of online opportunities. But not only that, we're also dealing with a lot of other struggles. So not only am I going to talk to you about how to host summits and interview someone like you to talk about podcasting and getting your book published, let's also bring a parenting specialist in, because remember, all of these other dynamics are changing. Once you become an entrepreneur, let's bring a marriage coach in, because support and frustration and anxiety looks different when you become an entrepreneur. You start having a shift of responsibilities in the household. But what about the fact that you also have a shift in your mindset because of COVID? So the Master of Virtual Economy is about getting a total package, everything that you need in order for you to be of right mind, of right spirit, and right knowledge to be able to get out here and execute on these internet streets and keep yourself open for possibilities beyond your current ability to see, so that you don't miss anything coming down the pipeline as God is trying to continue to help your brand and your path grow and excel.
I tell you what, you have opened up my eyes, really, because it's easy to be complacent or do a little bit or keep your head down, as Tommy Morgan says, and you just staying in your own lane. But you introduce us to a global thought, and God being everywhere, omnipresent, ready to download to us at any time. And if we're not positioned in order to receive, then we missed an opportunity. And from receiving that opportunity, we were supposed to be available to somebody else. So
Yes.
I see what you're talking about. This is dynamic.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
is.
You know, when this opportunity came for this moment right here, I had two feelings. One of extreme humility, like very, very humble, like, God, it's an honor that you would allow me to be among so many great women. But the other part of it was a lot of joy, which was still very tearful for me, because I choose to reside in a spirit of expectation. When God brought it to my attention that I was supposed to become a coach and I had that revelation, I sat with it. Like, well, what does that mean? Like, am I going to just coach people in Houston, Texas, because that's where I moved to? And when I realized what had been shown to me over the years, I was like, no, it's deeper than that. And there's a woman right now that's like, dang, I wish I could have been one. I'm real passionate about helping other women too. And how did those women get on the magazine? Some of them are joyful. Some of them are slightly jealous or envious. Some of them, even though they're not jealous or envious, they still got this eager yearning in their heart that they wish that it could have been them. But I'm going to tell you something. If you're truly passionate and you have sat in that thing and you know what it is that you're supposed to do, you will utilize every resource at your exposure, and you will show up like you are that thing right now. I realized a long time ago I had to master the art of being while becoming. So that dream that a girlfriend had of me years ago, saying I saw you and I couldn't reach you because there was a sea of people between me and you speaking, I internalized that into my spirit because that was a confirmation to what was shown to me. So I can speak to the world with my fingertips. That's why I am constantly on Facebook Live. I'm not waiting for someone to open the stage. I'm not waiting for someone to put me on a magazine. I'm not waiting for someone to interview me on a podcast. I go after that which I desire in my heart. The word says, write the vision down, make it plain, so that he that read it may be able to run for it, but still be patient, because though it seem to tarry for it, it'll come at its appointed time. So for me, I'm running. And I am not losing my win because I see it. That's why, I write my books, I have my podcast, and I'm not overexerting myself. I have a spiritual level of fortitude that allows me to constantly make sure I'm going to catch you somewhere. I'm going to catch you on IG. I'm going to catch you on Facebook. I'm going to catch you on LinkedIn. I'm going to catch you on www.realwomendon'tbitchpodcast.com. I'm going to catch you somewhere. And I'm going to show you, God, and I'm going to show the world that I was put here to move women to operate in their authentic power. This tool is at our fingertips. And if it wasn't for the digital footprint, as I call your digital resume, this opportunity, even with me knowing people like you, still may not have come, because I didn't just operate out of my gift. So we can't keep trying to think this thing through. We just got to show up. I'm still growing, but I wasn't always as polished as I am now. But you know what? I had the heart, and the heart was all that mattered. And I showed up, and I allowed myself to be refined over time, master the art of being while becoming, and utilize the resources that's right at your fingertip. You can change the world. You should be changing the world. I am changing the world.
Yes. Auguste Crenshaw, business coach, indeed an advanced mental conditioning specialist, and Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. This has been quite a conversation. I feel it goes much deeper. I know there are times that we've had conversations, and the intuitiveness that you have it's insane. It really, really is. It is totally insane. If a person, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, a person that's listening, they want to work with you, they should. If they're feeling some kind of movement inside of them and they recognize what you're saying, they should work with you. Become a part of the Move Summit. What day, when is that taking place, August?
It will start marketing on April the 5th, and it will actually air on April the 26th through May the 1st. Okay. But I tell people all the time, it's like a conference. It's just online. If you're the kind of person that binges TV, binge the summit. If you have some days that you can schedule out, you want to sit and you want to go through it. I create a workbook and everything to help translate the interviews into workable, teachable, implementable tasks, instead of just entertaining aha moment level information. So April 5th is when the doors will open to get your ticket. The event will be April the 26th through May the 1st. And it would also be great for those of you that are kind of on the fence, no matter how you feel spiritually, to get an opportunity to see me and the caliber of people that I run with, to go ahead and solidify that, to say, okay, I want to reach out to her because I'm seeing her essence and her demeanor and talking about various parts of business, so that you can truly feel comfortable moving forward if that's something that you're wrestling with in your spirit, even after, thank you for your kind words, Margo, even after everything that Margo has said.
I have to say ditto. I agree with everything. I know that you have resources over on Amazon that people can pay for, but there's nothing like seeing you do what you do and reach the depths and the hearts of those. So the Move Summit seems like a no-brainer. What an excellent way to get a taste of what you're doing, and yes, who you run with, because excellence begets excellence. That's just proven. It's intimidating to some people. That's how you were able to get on this fabulous list, because excellence and that deep footprint. That's what WomELLE was looking for. And you hit on something when you said, I just started. And I'm paraphrasing. You just started and you polished along the way. You can't polish, you can't do anything if you don't start. Can't start the business without a coach. I mean, and I want everyone to leave, and I know I'm looking at the time, and I don't want to end this conversation, but I want people to understand that there is a legitimate business coach available to them who didn't just study one day and then she hung her shingle out. No, you heard that she's been through trial and error, fire. I imagine anybody ask you anything, August, on any given day, you're going to come correct and transparent with them. And I would just want people to know that everybody's not a shyster. These women that the magazine is bringing to you are women that are tried, tested, and true. That's the main thing. That you can vet them digitally, and as far as paper goes, they're solid. So that's all I wanted to say, because this business coach thing is a big blue ocean, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And who do you trust? I don't know who to trust, but Auguste Crenshaw, Auguste Marie Crenshaw, as I may say.
Yes.
August, any parting words for the listeners? Anything that, as far as women and you paying attention to those in back of you and mentoring those who are at your sides, what words do you have for them as we close up?
Yeah, my favorite quote that came to me years ago is, everyone has a story to tell, and yours will either empower or devour you, and you must choose to be empowered. We're celebrating Women's History Month, but it doesn't matter whether you're Black, white, Cuban, whatever, especially here in the United States, even though I know that this is international, and our stories are the same abroad. Women's suffrage was real. And we're still, we wouldn't do things like the Me Too movement. We wouldn't have conversations about the gaps, the disparity in pay, in corporate versus if you're a man or a woman and what race, if everything was okay. We all can go through our alabaster box and use it as an excuse. And if you decide to say, okay, I went through this and I must conquer this so that it positions me to give me strength, it was resistance. You can do anything. Every single thing that has come against you, that was resistance. What are weights? Resistance. That's how you build muscle. That's how you build strong bones. So whatever it is that you have gone through, if you're willing to go through and conquer whatever's in blocking your mindset and your spirit, you can and you should do anything. Don't allow your story. Don't allow that story that you're telling yourself in your head to block you. You've got to speak truth to the expectation, not to the situation.
The expectation and not the situation. You must speak truth. Sound words, Auguste Crenshaw. And I just love that advanced mental conditioning specialist. We need that. You can't, that emotional intelligence is real. You have to be conditioned for this thing of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for your time. Is it any wonder that you are a powerful woman? I thank you for your time. And I'm Margo Lovett. I'll be back with another conversation with another powerful woman. Bye-bye now.